snap.
I know.
Dang, I didn't know that. I would have done that.
What's the difference between punching and cutting?
Honestly, I got no fucking clue.
The smoke will roll a little bit different.
Yeah.
What do you think I should do, boys?
I think you should punch
I
that
prefer punching, but I don't
That
care.
one's a skinny. I'd punch it.
Punch it or chop it.
All right,
Yeah,
how do you
that's
punch
true.
This now?
So for the punch, it's simple, bro. You just see the middle. You find the middle, and it's
That's
pretty
the first
sharp.
time
So you just
Yeah.
Push down.
you
Yeah.
just push down.
So
with
that's
it.
the
That I remember.
That's the double oak one. They got a regular
Yes.
one too. That's really good. But the
Yes,
double oak is
bro.
really good.
That was probably.
Low-key,
and that-
I do like Whistle Pig though, so I'm gonna have that. But that's good.
I haven't even
Like that.
tried Whistle Pig. Pig. Yes, just like that.
So this is a small batch, single barrel, and it's 100% rye. So it has
Okay.
a little bit different taste, but it should go good with the cigars.
Well, why don't?
Dude,
this
I got
is gonna
some.
burn, right? That sticker.
You can take the sticker.
You can take it off if
Yeah.
you want.
Once I get to a sticker, I'm done. I have to
Really? I want to get one of
really?
those, bro. I want to get one of those little holder things, bro. Because I swear, I'm like holding it like a freaking like.
See, once I
lunch or
get
something.
to like about here, then I'm like, okay, I'm just tasting fire at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen those guys? So I told you,
Swear,
like,
bro.
I shoot a private cigar lounge in
That's funny.
Omaha called Apiary.
Yeah.
So
Weird spot to be in.
It's some guys that been at literally chewing.
Dead, bro.
Yeah, chewing on the bottom of their cigars.
Yeah, you
Rattle the edge here.
yeah. All right, let me scoot over a little bit, bro. Let me scoot over.
Does
to
that throw it off in the video? No.
I crop it anyway to whatever it needs to be. So
I'm probably just
Dang.
gonna chill, like just sit back the whole time. Oh, I go like this.
That's like the chill, bro.
oh snap,
You like it?
dude, that is tasty. That is real good, bro.
It's really good, bro. I'm telling you, you gotta drink so the aging room is also one that's very similar to the Placencia.
Okay.
It pairs super well with coffee, and I don't know. I've been loving drinking coffee and smoking cigars lately.
Hold up, Marquis.
That's what's up.
So what end am I lighting here?
The end that you didn't cut.
Is this your first cigar?
You
now?
saying?
Second.
You like that?
Second.
Bro, I asked you earlier, Marquis.
I said
You
that.
told me the other way.
No, you cut this. You
cut-
cut that side.
Yeah,
but
you cut
light
the side,
this
but you light the side that's raw.
So this one.
Yes, that one.
No, I smoked a cigar for the first time like a few weeks ago, actually.
No way. Was it here?
Yeah, it was here.
you
Yeah, I'm
like it?
still learning. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's a vibe.
It's just so relaxing.
I know, man.
It is.
I didn't so I used to hang out with my friends who would always smoke cigars, but I was just like, I don't think it's for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I never tried it until it'll be 3 years ago on September 12th is whenever I smoked my first.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I like
wild.
I had like a okay, I just want to make sure your mic was going.
Test.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like taking like a couple draws before, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you guys, but Cam Scott was the one who got me into cigars, bro.
Yeah.
When he was like my mentor at the time, that was the first place he ever asked me like meet him.
Mm-hmm.
And like in my head, I was like, shit, bro, like can pastors do this? Can they meet in a cigar lounge? Like, so cigar? He's like, yeah, bro, like it's totally fine. I'm like,
That's where we used to have our creative meetings.
Really?
Yeah,
Was it at Leaf and Barrel?
Yep.
Yes. Or not Leaf and Barrel.
Leaf Brothers.
Leaf Brothers,
Right.
yes.
It used to be next to Barntown.
Yeah,
They moved.
did they move?
They got one in Ankeny and they got one in Boonville. Like a
Okay,
little bit
but no
further
more
west.
West Des Moines.
No.
Okay.
They was complaining about the smoke smell going to the other tenants.
Really?
So now they got their own separate building in Ankeny and Boonville.
I mean, I thought that place was so big. I thought that their ventilation system would have been
that's
like
what I
really
thought.
good.
Right.
That's pretty.
Cam
wild.
still be
Whoa.
hitting those cigars. He still posts about them.
I see
In
his like
Korea, bro.
I see his
What
posts
the
about
heck?
him. That's crazy. All right, so is that it? Let's get into it.
Get in it.
All right, let's do it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Creatives POV podcast. My name is Ethan,
Marquis.
Noah.
and today, if you are watching and not listening, we have a different setup. We're out back behind my house, and we're just chilling, having a cigar,
Yeah.
having some whiskey,
Outback.
and we are here with one of our good friends, Crosby.
What's up, everybody?
You don't have to lean in.
I was like, how
nah, you're
reaching
good.
here?
You're good. But yeah, so we're just gonna have kind of candid conversation the way we always do, but it's gonna be different. So tell us about yourself and what you do, man.
Yeah. So, I do a lot of things. I feel like I've done so much in such like a short amount of time. But basically we'll start off by saying I work as a full-time social media manager for a company in Tampa, Florida. So that's been really nice, full remote, pretty flexible, just a great atmosphere to be around. And also do a lot of freelance video on the side. So that's probably like obviously my main passion. But I mean, just like anybody, you got to start somewhere. And so especially being recently married, it's like having a full-time job and a steady income has been probably the best decision that my wife and I have made. And then freelance has been just like, man, it's just been hobby and passion, you know?
How'd you get this connection in Tampa doing social media?
LinkedIn.
Really?
Bro, I swear. Yeah. So I never used to think LinkedIn would be such an incredible platform. Right. But I have used that for business. I have used that for jobs. I've used that for like connecting with friends. Yeah. And so it's so weird. I would tell people like, man, I'm probably on LinkedIn more than I'm on like Instagram.
That's crazy.
And like,
you sound like Gary Vee.
Bro, nothing like it. I used to watch him a lot, but I don't know, man. I think it started with the first social media job I had in Tennessee, and I had to be on LinkedIn, right? I had to run their LinkedIn page. And so for me, I realized the pull that people were getting, that our company was getting from LinkedIn. And that was probably our most engaged platform. And I was like, dang, like people here, it's a different niche. It's a different level of young professionals. But at the same time, it's like, these people are engaged. These people, this is like their community. So yeah, LinkedIn is crazy. Yeah.
Do you go down to Tampa ever and like see your employer in person, or do you just strictly do Zoom calls, or how do you?
Mostly Zoom calls. Not usually. I've been to Tampa for work one time. They flew me out. We did a little, I don't know, just kind of like, I guess meet and greet, if you want to say that, because that was my first time ever meeting them. And that was probably, I don't know, like 2 months in, to working there. But it's the title that I have is social media manager, but I do a lot more, such as editing videos and whatnot, right? So, it's an automotive company in Tampa. So we have dealerships that we partner with, all throughout the country, basically. And so one time they flew me out to Detroit to film a little testimony video, for one of their dealer partners. And I think they wanted me to go to Tampa at some point in the next probably like month or two, to go film one of their dealerships they have in Tampa. So I don't know. It's really cool to have that opportunity, but it hasn't been much. It's been one time.
So how'd you get into video that got you to this job?
That's a good question. I think if we're going like way back, honestly, it was, when I was doing something completely different than what I'm ever going to be doing. But I think you might remember this, but I was starting my own watch company back in. Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. So this was in like,
what was it called? Empiric?
It branded first V1 watches for Vision One Vision. We had this vision to really bring together the luxury watches with the customizational watch concept. And like the idea I think is still like really neat. Because you think of like a luxury watch that looks the part, but then it's like fully customizable to you. So you can customize the face, you can customize the case back, you can customize really any design, for your watch. And there's a company in like Japan that does that right now, but they're like really expensive. It's like a couple grand to do that. So basically how my interest in video started is I had a connection in California where my buddy, he's like a professional videographer. He's been this for a while. He's worked with insane guys like Hobo Johnson and like all these other like Jackson Jewelry. And I was like, hey man, I don't have much money at all to pay you, but like, can I fly you out and maybe create a promo video for the company that I'm doing? And he's like, yeah, man, no worries, no problem. So he came, we flew him out with just like out of pocket money. I mean, I think I was like lifeguarding at the time. So I was like, this is my lifeguarding money.
Wait, at Adventureland or Altoona?
I think this was Altoona.
Oh, shoot.
I think this was the Altoona campus. And so, yeah, he was like, yeah, I flew him out. And just the final video that I saw him create for our watch company, like to hell with our watch company, bro. It didn't pan out, but we had the video and that thing, I could watch that all day.
It was fire.
It was so well put together.
It was.
The storytelling.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back in archives and find it, but I looked so young, bro. I had a little like coif haircut. it was completely different me. But yeah, so I saw the video. I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, I wish you kind of have that internal feeling of like, oh, I wish I could do something like that. But I never really took the next step to actually do it until later on. So like life went on. I had probably like 18 other different jobs that I had in a span of a few years. And I think it all came back to, man, I have a lot of friends who are content creators, who are photographers and videographers. Why don't I just like pick up a camera and just start doing it by myself, you know, just to kind of get introduced to it. So me and Holden Kramer, we got cameras. I had a Canon T6i and we were just shooting photo with that. I think we did video. I think that camera can do video. I can't remember. But, so we were just like going around downtown Des Moines, kind of just like shooting with a couple of our buddies. And I was like, man, this is like pretty neat. I could totally do this, see myself doing this. So that was like full on like 2000, I don't even know, like 17 or something like that. 2017, 2018. And, yeah, since then I've been doing it, I guess, on and off for a little bit. But then I would say the past few years has been like really ramped up, especially being in Tennessee and, you know, having connections there and friends over there, do a bunch of different other stuff. But yeah, so long story short, yeah, that was like a long time. That was how it started.
Yeah. So like, what kind of freelance jobs are you taking on with like videography and like photography and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I've actually stopped doing photography altogether.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've talked about this, but for me, like I hate the process of editing a picture. I don't know why. Like I love, like you see your guys' picture, I'm like, dang, I'm blown away. But I'm like, man, for some reason I can't sit in Lightroom and just like edit a picture at a time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I find the video editing process, just like for myself personally, just so much more exciting and being able to tell a story and challenge myself every time to like do that. And I'm like, and photographers will say the same thing, but about photography, right? Yep. But I just found a joy in video. So right now, it's been a little slow. I still do stuff with like the Hall of Fame and, that every once in a while. But, the main thing right now is high school sports. Like that is one thing I want to do. I want to do sports video, like in the long run. I want to be able to do college football. I wanted to be able to get into an NFL game, shoot NFL games, and maybe not work for the NFL. But like you see all these professional athletes now have people that follow them, that they hire, right? That create content for them. And for me, I'm like, man, I would love to do something like that because I mean, I'm a guy who loves football. I'm a guy who loves sports. And so I think, you know, all this process, all these different jobs that I've had, I've kind of like been the stepping point into, you know, what I'm able to do. And like, it's helped me a lot doing high school sports. Cause I'm like, bro, I'm too good for that. Right. Yeah. But like, honestly, no, like this is a great foot in the door for something.
Do you think it's partly because you grew up playing sports? Does that have anything to do with it?
100%. Yeah. I think so. And I'm just like, my wife will tell you, I'm so obsessed with football that like, sometimes I can say so if I'm mad because like Nebraska loses like last year.
Oh no,
we lost about seven, bro. We lost 7 games.
Are you from Nebraska?
No, my parents are.
They play tomorrow, right?
They play tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad for you.
They got their volleyball.
Yeah, it's playing tonight.
They're playing tonight in the football stadium.
In the football stadium.
They have 89,800 fans.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
sold
fans.
tickets. That's insane, bro.
For a volleyball game.
For a volleyball game. It's insane.
Are they like that? They're
Dude, volleyball.
Oh, bro, they are
the Huskers are like, I want to say ranked number 4 right now.
They got called some controversial stuff last year, right?
Yeah. I think so. But yeah, so like, I can't remember what I'm saying.
Though.
But yeah, my wife will tell me like I'm so obsessed with football that sometimes if something will happen and I'm angry about something, I'll accidentally take it out on her. I'm like, I'm so sorry. That's not me. It's not you. It's so I think that's where my passion for sports has just become. And so like, for instance, last Friday, I was at the Southeast Polk Valley game, shooting my little brother plays, for Southeast Polk. And so I was like, hey, this is a perfect opportunity for me to really just like shoot pro bono, you know, just like get some content because I can't show somebody my like event highlights from the Hall of Fame and be like, hey, can I shoot a game? It has not like, there's no correlation, right? Mm-hmm. So like even to have something as simple as a high school game under my belt is, that's something that I want to be able to have and continue to build that up, to show somebody else. And, so yeah, that's really exciting that this, the opportunities have come.
Did you learn like editing, shooting, all the skills that go into it, just YouTube University? Do you learn from mentors or anyone teach you or what?
A little bit of both. I would say when I was in Tennessee, a couple of my buddies, one of my buddy Jeremiah, he's the one who got us basically all connected with the Hall of Fame. And he's been doing video for years and he's really good. And when I was in Tennessee, I was like, hey man, I'd love to kind of just like whatever you have, if you need a second shooter or something, I'd love to just learn from you. And so he's been a great mentor, but also just, he's a really good friend of mine. Like we go golfing on shoots that we have together. And it's just like being able to work with your friends is so important. And so he's taught me so much, but also YouTube was definitely the first start of it. Cause I was here and I would say at that time, my creative like network wasn't really big at all. It was Holden. And I think that was probably about it. So I didn't really learn from anybody here. It was more so just YouTube. And then as I started to want to get better, I was like, hey, I need to start reaching out to people and, actually get hands on with somebody and learning. So yeah, definitely a little mix of both, I would say, is mentorship, friends, YouTube, all that stuff. Any chance to learn, I think.
Yeah.
So born and raised in Des Moines. Mm-hmm. How was that move to Tennessee? What brought on that move? Was that a leap of faith?
Okay. Yes. Yes. So we talked about this last night. So there was a girl that I talked to.
Okay.
In Tennessee. We met on social media and it wasn't like the best thing, right? So we were, knew each other hanging out for a year and I would take trips to Tennessee like weekendly, probably twice a month.
Okay.
To see this girl. It was just a bad situation. And eventually I was like, man, at this time I was working at Hope with, being intern under Jamie. And I was like, man, I kind of want to like move to a different state, venture off. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to Tennessee so I can be close to this girl. And I don't know, man. It was so spur of the moment though, but it was also such a godsend because I was looking on Indeed and LinkedIn, right? For jobs. And there was a, internship available or a resident program available for a church down in Spring Hill, Tennessee. And I was like, oh, bro, I got to apply. Like, this is gonna be great. And so I did that. Got into the program, moved down there in like probably a month. I didn't tell my family. I don't think, from what I remember, I didn't tell my family until like 2 weeks before I moved.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So like moving for me is, and beyond that though, like moving for me isn't a big deal. Like I'm always ready for the next step, and just like the next place in life. My wife is the completely opposite. Like it'll take her time to kind of adjust. And she's like, I really got to pray about it. I'm like, I don't think you're praying about it. I think you're just kind of scared. But you know what I mean? Like people say that. I'm like, nah, I think that's a little fear. But for me, it's always like, man, I'm just so excited, to be in a different spot. And so the move was pretty easy for me. And because I also knew that I was going to be involved like super quickly, super easily, right? Like if I went down there and I didn't have a job lined up and I was just moving down there for, the relationship, it would have probably been a completely different experience for me.
For sure.
But since I got the opportunity at the church with student ministry, I'm like, bro, what other opportunity could you get that that just like falls into your lap? So it all worked out in the end. I mean, it was pretty crazy, but I stayed there for about 3.5 years.
So while in Tennessee, you obviously changed jobs and work for this company doing social media management. What was the process like going from like doing that residency to becoming, okay, I want to be a full-time content creator?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty tough decision for me though, because like as I was working, coming back at the bridge, I was like vocational ministry. I want to do that. Mm-hmm. And like, I just have so much fun with it, right? There's just like evangelizing, discipling, but it's all just like having friends. Like it's so cool. And so when I went to Tennessee, still kind of had that same feeling, but also I got more involved in the creative sense more because I was also helping create videos for the student ministry as well while I was there. And like, for some reason, man, I always found myself having so much more joy doing that than like other things sometimes, you know? So as the residency program came to an end, we're all of us residents, there was like 6 of us, I think. And we were all kind of like thinking about, what are we going to do next? Are we going to work at a different church? Are we going to work at this church? Are we going to do something completely different? And I think most of us ended up doing something completely different. Not in a bad way. Like, we weren't ever burned by the church, but it was more so we found something that we absolutely loved and we took it head on. And for me, as that, it was kind of just a buildup of day-to-day things in the creative sense of like, man, I've fallen in love with this so much that I want to do this for the rest of my life. And, you know, that ultimately led me to do social media management, which is cool because in the sense you kind of get a mix of everything, paid media, organic media, video editing, photography, all that stuff. And I wanted to dip my hands in a little bit of everything. So yeah, working for the church honestly helped me but like go through so many doors that were just so open at the time. And I was like, wow, it's wild. But yeah.
How did it feel taking on paid clients? Like
for the first time?
For the first time.
Oh man, that was crazy because I didn't realize they paid so well. You know? So some of them, I wouldn't say all of them, but some of them I'm like, man, I like stop asking people what their budget is and kind of just have a set thing now, like a standard of like, hey, meet it. I have a buddy who can do it for you.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that was one thing I was like, man, I can't remember the first paid gig I ever did was, I think, with the Hall of Fame, like freelance gig. So I think it was 3 years ago, my buddy Jeremiah, before that, we had an elder in the church who knows the marketing guy for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And he approached Jeremiah and said, hey man, like the Hall of Fame needs videographers for Canton, the enshrinement back in 2020 or 2021. I can't remember what year it was. And he was like, hey, can you assemble a team together? You know, do this, blah, blah, blah. And so I think I was originally going to go on the 2021 enshrinement. However, they talked about it with the team and they said, hey, we only need 2 people, not 3. So we needed a video guy and a photo guy. So I don't do photography, and Jeremiah, he does video. So he took along our other friend, Chris. They went to Canton and I was like, whatever, super bummed. They talked it up to me like I was going, you know what I mean? And I was like so stoked. But then he was like, hey bro, sorry to break it to you. We can't bring you along. I was like, whatever. But he was like, hey, don't worry. We're going to try to keep these guys like asking for us and asking for our work and stuff. And I was like, okay, like hopefully that works out. It's not a one and done, one-off thing. And so after the enshrinement, they loved what they did. So they kept asking us to do other events. So I went, this was August. So the next February, which was the Super Bowl in LA, that was the first, I guess, paid event that I did, or paid freelance event that I did that I remember. Maybe there was others in the beginning, but that was like mind blowing to me. Yeah. And he's like, hey, we're taking a team of 3. We're going to Los Angeles for the week, for the Super Bowl week. It's going to be crazy. You're going to be paid, blah, blah, blah. So we did that for the week. Got to see an insane amount of people. You know,
the Rams.
That was, the Rams
versus
Bengals, right? Rams Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that wasn't the first one, but that was the most memorable one. Yeah. And so I was like, after that concluded, I was like, he sent me the check and I was like, holy freaking cow, bro. Like, I didn't make this much money in like 2 weeks of a pay period at a full-time job. And I was like, wow, this is like so nice. And I got to enjoy every single minute of the entire trip, that I was there. And so after that, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this like head on, full on, as much as I can, as best as I can. So that ultimately led to like the real spark to like, hey, I'm going to do this at some point full time, but I'm going to do this as much as I can right now.
Let's go.
That's sick. Do you remember the first like project that you took on? Was it, you said it was the Hall of Fame, or have you done any other work before then?
Man, I can't even remember. I think the Hall of Fame shoot was definitely the most memorable. I think there was an event with the Hall of Fame before that, the Super Bowl. But I think that was like the very first paid actual event that I ever did.
How'd you meet your boy Jeremiah?
Through the church.
Through the church?
Yeah. Man, it's crazy. All of my connections, especially with video, have been in the church. Whether if that's at Hope or the church I worked at in Tennessee, the Bridge. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, that's such a smart way to connect with people, right? Yeah. And the right people. And not saying that there's other bad people, whatever, but that's what helped me. And like, I was talking to a buddy, not a buddy, he was a guy on the sidelines at the Friday night football game I was at. And he was like, I think he's like an 18-year-old kid. And he's like, hey, and he's really good. But he's asking me like, hey, how do you get your clientele? Like, do you do paid media? Do you do ads? Cause I have another friend who does ads and he's been telling me to do that, but I don't have money. And I was like, honestly, bro, I haven't spent a freaking penny on any media of like, hey, look at me. This is my services. Let me help you. I haven't done any of that. And I don't feel like I need to. I don't feel like a lot of people need to.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if we're sitting around in a circle like this and I'm like, we're talking about what we do. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a videographer, video editor, and I've been doing this for X amount of years and, I've worked with X amount of people and these people, you're kind of, you get to build that reputation of like, okay, he's kind of legit. He knows what he's doing. I'm going to hit him up because I have a buddy who needs video service for like solar panel company. Right. And he hits you up and be like, hey, I heard from a friend of a friend that you do video. Can you hit me up? And a lot of it, that's been all of the people that I get, man. I haven't spent.
Yeah. I think there's like some, I don't know, more value than not making a personal connection with like having that relational credibility with someone, because with word of mouth, not only is it, oh, I know someone, it's that person trusts their opinion. You know what I mean? Like if I'm talking with Noah and Noah's like, or for example, a better example was Holden, our audio engineer.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, someone asked me to do this project. This was like 3 weeks ago. And he asked me on a Wednesday. He's like, but we got to do it tomorrow. Can you do it? And I was like, absolutely. And he's like, cool. Cause he knew I could get the job done and they trusted him to connect the dots. Yeah. So I think there's something special about like, bro, you need to recut that.
Do I?
You might need to. Your edges are
Cigar Chronicles.
Yeah, I just got real distracted. I was like, dang, you might need to recut that. Man. But you know what I'm saying? Rather than just someone being like, oh, I saw this on Facebook, there's just something that is a little bit more respected, that when someone that can put you in contact.
I mean, think about weddings too. And like, what's the point of a wedding videographer? To create a cool video and a cool story, but to make the bride and groom feel so comfortable,
right? Like
you've known each other for years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And Marky, you do a lot of wedding videos, right? Yep. And it's like, you may do a lot of wedding videos of people you know, but then maybe some wedding videos that people you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, that was so nerve wracking because I'm like, man, I am kind of awkward sometimes around people, but I also am like, I enjoy myself around people and I like to enjoy other people's company. And it's like, you kind of just have to fall in love with making people feel so comfortable in front of a camera.
Yeah.
And it's so like with weddings, I don't think I've ever had a wedding where I walked away from it like, dang, that was a super awkward wedding, or that couple.
Really?
Then like, so I think building those relationships is very cool when shooting weddings. Like you get a chance to, you get to talk to the client, twice maybe before their big wedding. Then you spend a whole day with them. Mm-hmm. And then like you said, at the end of the day, you feel like, oh, I can go get a beer with that person. Or I can go get lunch with that person. Yep. Or I could travel with that person. So it's pretty dope when you, like you said, getting to know the client, especially with weddings. It's a lot easier with weddings.
It really is. And I think it helps too because you have to like pose them and you have to kind of just be that point person of, hey, I have to actually lead conversation. Mm-hmm. But for me, I kind of do the opposite at weddings because I always say I always tell the photographer like, hey, you do your thing. I'm just gonna follow you. I don't need to stage anybody, right? Because man, I feel like some photographers are so particular, and if you try to get in their way, oh man,
it ruins the whole day.
The whole day, and it's like, man, I didn't know I did anything. You didn't do anything to hurt the bride or the groom, but if you hurt the photographer, the rest of the day, bro, you might as well stop recording.
You might as well go home.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I do like shooting weddings a lot more than I used to. I feel like before I was kind of hesitant because I was like, man, number one, the whole aspect of not knowing some people.
Yeah.
And number two, just hearing weird stories, bad stories.
Yeah. You just wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
It does take, shooting weddings, it does take some time to get comfortable with, first of all, you're shooting in front of hundreds of people you don't know. Like, is my hair off? Is my outfit okay? Like, you're thinking about all the wrong things. When it's all about, nobody really cared that you're there.
So many people at the last wedding. So I'm not a wedding photographer or wedding videographer. I do them when I'm asked to. Not when, oh, I need a wedding videographer. I'm not going to get in a bidding war because that's not what I enjoy doing. I would rather give that to someone whose opportunity, like that opportunity to someone who really loves doing it. But the last wedding I was at, I shot everything but the ceremony wearing Crocs. Because I was talking, Wait,
did you know the people?
I'm good friends with them. And I showed up and I was like, hey, like, here's the thing. Y'all, like, focus on enjoying your day and not worrying what anyone else thinks, because guess what? I'm here to capture that, but I don't really care what anyone else thinks right now. So whenever I'm on the dance floor, just taking pictures of you guys like dancing and stuff, I want to be dancing with you. I'm in Crocs. I'm just hanging out and I'm capturing your day. Don't feel any pressure to be something that you're not around those people, because if you're putting that pressure on yourself, you're probably going to be more uptight, and that's just going to cause that like domino effect, which is like one of the reasons why I hate doing weddings. Is not so much dealing with bridezillas, bro. It's the mother of the brides. So it's just like, man, like trying to live vicariously, bro. I'll go on record saying that, because the first wedding I ever did, I had that instance. I'm like, I never want to shoot another wedding again. I was like, man, like, this isn't your day.
It is always the mother of the bride.
You know, I was like, this is not your day. Let your daughter have her day. I'll get off my soapbox now, but I understand.
That was good.
I feel you on that.
That was needed to be said.
The mom is always the one like, hey, can you make sure you get this shot?
It's always, can you come here real quick? Like, pulls you back. So, like, the bride doesn't hear you.
I'm like, come on now.
That's what's up.
So on the other spectrum of things, you're back in Des Moines.
Yes, sir.
How does that feel? What brought you back to Des Moines? Did you meet your wife in Tennessee, or did you meet her, or is she from Des Moines?
So she's from Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, so I met her at the church. I met her at the church I was working at. And, you know, we were kind of just being friends for a little bit. And I think that was like so different for me, because I would always, like, I don't know, talk to girls to see if something was there, right?
Yeah.
And for us, it was more so like, hey, like, you seem really cool. Like, let's be friends. Because I was coming off of another relationship, and I was like, I think I should kind of just like lay low, right? And because I got a little girl crazy when I was there too. So I was like, I think it's time for me to slow down and really just embrace the time here with my friends. So, I met her at the church. We became friends for a while. We were in the same friend group over there, and eventually we were like, hey, I kind of have feelings for you. And she says that she had feelings for me when she saw me, which is kind of like a cool, like, prideful thing to say as a guy. But like, that was cool to hear, but I didn't think anything of it until like 3 months down the road. So yeah, we ended up, you know, dating, getting married, whatever, in Tennessee. And really the reason why we moved back here initially was because Tennessee got so expensive for us. And so Maggie was finishing up her senior year of college. So all of this I was making the income basically and doing freelance. This is when I was full-time freelance. I didn't even have a full-time job. And the summer and the spring was hot, right? Like, it was great for video. And I was like, okay, we could do this. We're living off of it. Paying rent, paying bills, but also being able to go on dates every once in a while. But then the winter hit. Bro, I didn't realize that the winter, depending on your industry of video you're in, could be so freaking slow. I was on my couch, man, probably 80% of the time in the winter, like, not doing anything. And this is when I would actually, like, I never did any paid media, like I said, but I would reach out to people through social media, LinkedIn, email, like, hey, if you need any video work, like, let me know. I'm always open. And so I wasn't getting much. So that was really tough for us. And then, we kind of came to the realization I had to let my pride down for a little and be like, hey, if we want to invest in our future and our marriage, it's best if I get a full-time job while she's in school and I'm the only one working. So, you know, got the full-time job, still did freelance on the side, and we're like, hey, this is still kind of expensive living here. Like, I don't know. I'm not used to this. So we've made the decision, like, hey, I think we should move back to Iowa, be with my family. I have three siblings in high school still. So, you know, kind of like that big brother mode. I'm like, hey, I still also want to be close to my family, especially while my siblings are in high school. Yeah. And today's age, because it's so, like, high school's so messed up right now. And so making sure as a big brother, their head's on straight, right? And taking care of them, because like there's a lot of kids in our family. And so I think at some point the siblings have to step up and kind of just like take care of the other kids too. So that was also a big driving force to us moving back. But I would say the initial reason was to save money, invest in our future, invest in our marriage. So right now we're living in Carlisle in like a 450 square foot home. It's a living room, a kitchen, and a bedroom and a bathroom. Wow. That's it.
I like Carlisle though.
Oh, bro, Carlisle is like it's like my new favorite.
Yeah, I love Carlisle. It's peaceful. we got family friends that live in Pleasantville, which there is some land out there. I'm like, if I ever had enough money to move out there, move out to Pleasantville, and just disappear.
Dude, my brother is building a barn dough. Kirk's building a barn dough in like the outskirts of Reynolds towards Pleasantville. And like, I'm on that barn dominium like hype train right now. Like, man, if we get the opportunity, I'd be down to do it. You know, like from what I've heard, it doesn't have much like investment potential, but at the same time, like, I don't care right now. Like, I think we're just ready to, well, I guess we're not ready, but we're excited to have a home together. That's ours. Cause right now it's my little brother. So, you know, we're still paying rent. But yeah, I think right now we're kind of just taking it so slow. Like we barely told anybody that we were moving back to Iowa. And then I think I decided to do it for like work purposes. Like, hey, if anybody needs video done, I'm here. Yeah. But yeah, we're taking it so slow. We realized that the Lord put us here for a reason. And so we need to just embrace it instead of look for homes in the next, you know, area of state or town, whatever that may be. But yeah, it's good to be back, bro, because it's good to see you guys again. It's good to meet new friends and connections. And I think that's one thing that's so cool. And to see the creative community here in Des Moines is just so much different. Like, and you guys could probably attest to this, right?
It's a lot different.
Like, so different, man. And it's so great because you get to see, like, Nashville, it's just so oversaturated to where, like, there was a lot of opportunities, but then there also wasn't because like, people have their people already, right? And for here, it's like, some people don't have their people, but then also, like, it's such a collaborative city, right? And I think that's one thing that I love most about a lot of creatives is that if you love the collaborative aspect of it, I'll love working with you. If you're competitive though in this industry, I probably won't like working with you. Yeah. Right? Because those to me are people who maybe like take their work above everybody else's. And like, to me, I don't really like that because I'm like, man, I'm never going to be satisfied with my work. I feel like I should never think that I'm better than anybody else because I'm always learning from, like I learned something from the 18-year-old on a Friday night last weekend. And I'm like, man, like that's cool that I can take things from other people. It's like that Kobe Bryant saying of like, he would take his game from rookies and like add it to his own game. And that's what made him like the best. And so for me, it's like, I want to be my own best by taking what other people do and kind of like adding it to my game, adding it to my work and what I do. And so like, that's what I love about this Des Moines area now is like, man, it's so diverse. It's so unique and it's growing. And I think, I think in the next 5 years, it's going to look so different for the better.
It's looked so different in the year that I've been here. Like, honestly, like, it's so fast changing. Talk to us a bit about like the different experiences that you've had, like with the creative scene. Like you said, it's oversaturated in Nashville. Like, obviously being a big creative city, not quite like in LA. Like, it's a different style. I mean, I love Nashville as a musician. Like, such a cool city. You've connected with like musicians and stuff like that. How have you like taken stuff from there that you like maybe have inspiration to bring here to Des Moines?
That's a really good question. Man, I don't even know. I think one of the biggest things is for me personally is broadening my clientele. Okay. Because in Nashville, like you said, I got to work with artists, I got to work with podcasts, I got to work with, and then on the other side, I got to work with like the Hall of Fame and commercial work and whatnot. And like at the church world, like live worship nights. So I kind of dip my feet in every aspect of everything. So bringing that here, I'm like, man, I'm always open to doing it all as well. And like for me, I've always been, aside from video, bro, I've always been a jack of all trades. Like I've never been a master of anything. Like I couldn't tell you one thing that I'm like, I could tell you everything about off the bat. It's like there's so many things that I've dipped my feet in that I'm not like a master at, but I know enough to kind of beat around the bush and get to work. So I guess bringing a lot of what I learned from everything, from musician work to podcast work to live music to sports to commercial and everything else, and bringing that here to kind of help build my business here too. Because I think that's what we're all trying to do is build a business, build a clientele, to ultimately, have retainers month to month, and also just do like the fun one-offs that only come around every once in a while. But yeah, it's been, the time in Nashville was good. I'm glad to be back here though. Like I tell my wife, my family, like I'm so glad to be back here. It's great. I love it. And I love Tennessee, and Tennessee showed me a lot, but man, I'm glad to be back here.
If you had to choose one project that you worked on, it could be editing or just shooting or both, what would be that one project you're just in love with?
Man, I would say, and I didn't get a chance to shoot this. This is actually kind of a funny story. So last year, August 5th, I got married, right? Mm-hmm. And so at that time, that was also a busy time for video work. Because the Hall of Fame enshrinement is the 6th. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to go to that. And a buddy of mine, Chris, the photographer who we go with, he was supposed to marry us in our wedding. Cause he is also a pastor too. So, okay. So I was like, hey bro, like, can you marry us? Him and his wife did our marriage counseling. He's like, yeah, whatever. Not thinking of that the Hall of Fame enshrinement was going to be there at that time. So he texted me in advance, well enough in advance, like, hey bro, as you know, and I was like, yeah, I know, because I'm supposed to go too, but I'm getting married. Like, we can't do this. And so those two guys weren't able to come to my wedding. But also, one of our friends hit him up saying, hey, the the Formula One racing in Nashville is happening that weekend. So it was like August. I think it was like while I was on my honeymoon.
Speaking his language.
So
I saw his face just go. I was like, what?
So it gets better. It gets better, but worse for me. So
we talked about it. I remember what you're about to say.
So he was like, so Chris texted me. He's like, hey man, I don't know if you're gonna be in town. You're probably gonna be on your honeymoon, but Theo Vaughn's PR people hit me up saying, hey, he's going to be like following this, one of the, like, he's an older racer, but he still raced in the race. And he was like, hey, they want us to do a documentary of him, of like following him, running gun style, like following him around in this race.
Yeah.
Can you do
Alonzo?
it? Maybe.
I remember seeing your post.
Yeah. It probably was. I can't remember. Can't remember what his name. I'm not super big into Formula One, but I was like, Theo Vaughn, bro, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Theo Vaughn,
yeah, that too. Yeah.
So I would, bro. I tell you what, I was so tempted, and I would not tempt. I'm pretty sure I asked my wife. I asked Maggie, like, hey, like I know we have like our wedding date set. But like, do you think we can move it, push it back like a week or two after? I said that, and like jokingly, but not jokingly, because I was missing the Hall of Fame and this Theo Vaughn shoot, and in my head I was like, bro, this could be like the breaking point, bro. Like, hope my business could, whatever. Even if not, it's like the opportunity comes once in a lifetime, which it did, and so she was like, no, like, we're obviously not doing that. We're not changing the date.
He was like, do you know who Theo Vaughn is?
Damn, that's crazy. But you chose the right thing.
I chose the right thing. We got married. I wouldn't change it for the world.
And another opportunity will 100% come around where you get to be a big star.
And I got the footage. So we actually had another buddy of ours. He went to the race. He shot all the shots, whatever. Okay. Ended up editing it for a little bit. And I was like, man, this is great. but we can't post anything about it because it's their footage. It's Theo Von's footage.
Yeah.
So I asked my friend, I was like, hey, like I've got this video, like, can I post this on my personal accounts just to like put it out there? He's like, yeah, let me ask real quick. And I was like, at this point, my heart was racing. I was like, bro, I didn't get to meet him, but the fact that I have the raw footage to edit something of Theo Von's, like, this is crazy. And he texted me like 30 minutes later. He said, nah, bro, like they won't let you because it's Theo Von's footage. And I was like,
crazy.
if I want to pay like 50 grand, sure. But
slide in Theo Von DM.
I know, man. It was crazy. I don't think our friend works for him anymore, but that's how we got the connection originally. But it was, so like that project in particular, even just editing that was something that I personally felt so accomplished, even if nobody saw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, wow. The fact that I was able to do this and to be asked is like such like a, I don't know, just like a booster in confidence, right? Of like, man, I'm not the most qualified. I may not have been doing this longer than a lot of people, but it's like the fact that I'm using my just like communication skills, I guess, and being able to like just be friends with people. Like that goes like such a long way. And I'm like, man, I really did miss out though. I'm not gonna lie.
That's crazy.
I don't know if that opportunity will ever come about again, but man, if it does, I'm pushed. Nothing is getting.
Make sure you have that video on your phone when you meet.
I know, man.
Who's your dream client?
My dream client would be anybody in the NFL.
Okay.
Anybody. Like you see guys like Russell Wilson have his guys follow him around. So Calvin Johnson. He's been a really big advocate for the Hall of Fame health, and for just what he does. And we got to meet his personal photographer over at an event in Detroit a couple years ago. And his name's Peter. He's just like a little Asian guy like me, and he's just like so chill, so cool. And I'm like, bro, how do you do this? How do you just reach out to Calvin Johnson and be like, hey man, I'm a photographer. Let me follow you around. And he's just like, honestly, you just gotta have work and then just be personable to people and act like they're people. And I think going back to the whole not having a big head and like talking to people like they're people, making them feel comfortable, especially with these athletes, they have, press around them all the time. And we always have to tell like athletes at these events, like, hey, we're not press, we're videographers, like we're photographers. It's completely, we're not asking you questions.
Yeah, you're working with their personal brand.
Yeah, it's like we're creating video, like hype videos and recap videos and testimonials. We're not going to be interviewing you like, hey, tell us about your record-breaking season back in 2008. You know what I mean? So that has helped me in particular just like be so comfortable with talking to people in a business way and just on like a friend level way. So ultimately, like my dream client would just be anybody in the NFL.
There's a guy I used to work with. He owned a sports media company that got contracted out, and that's how I got the Bleacher Report gig. He ended up becoming Tyreek Hill's personal videographer.
Oh, bro, I just saw a video on that. So you worked with him?
Yeah.
This tall blonde kid?
Yeah.
What the heck? I literally just saw like an Instagram post of him doing that.
He did the timeline.
Yes, you saw that? Oh, bro. So cool.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was crazy.
Like,
I missed out on an opportunity to actually go and like do some stuff for him because I was already doing stuff. At the
Isn't
time.
that the worst?
But I'm just like
prior
man,
commitments.
I know. I'm like, man, like, well, the thing was like, it was either take this paid gig or drive to Kansas City, stay for the weekend, and like they had like a hoop run, they had like a whole like workout plan and stuff like that. I was so jealous.
I got a homie here when Tyreek Hill comes for his camp.
Yeah,
he always shoots his camp.
Yeah,
Andrew Clemens.
Really?
I get you connected with. You know Andrew. Yep.
That's crazy, bro. That would be that whiskey hit me in the throat. But yeah, I think, man, like anything sports, bro, it's like being around that atmosphere. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not going to, that's why I had to go back and, do high school football games is because I can't, like, although we've shot a lot of athletes and Hall of Famers, like it wasn't on a field level. It was like they're dressed up in a suit, right? Like at a dinner or like at a fashion show or something. Yep. And it's like, it's just a completely different thing. And even like on Friday night when I was shooting on the field, I like know my camera, right? Because you know your camera, you know what to shoot, you know the settings. but it's like knowing where to stand, where to be, how often to shoot, record every play, not record every play.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I was asking, like I said, this 18-year-old, because he's been doing high school sports for the past year. And I was like, where do you stand? How do you shoot every play? Do you not shoot it? And he was telling me everything left and right. And I was like,
you shoot every play?
You shoot every play because you never know when that home run hit.
Yeah, what gear do you use too? Like, because I mean, with football, you're at least 25 yards away. You know, if you're on the sideline shooting through people, and then if you're on the end line, you can be anywhere from 10 to 100 yards away.
I'll tell you what, I was not prepared Friday night, so I came in with my A74 and my 24-70.
Okay.
So you know my booty was running back and forth, sideline to sideline, every play just to get.
But you shoot 4K at least, right?
But I shoot 4K, so I punch in. Okay. So like the video that I did, did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Recap. I kind of liked how it looked because if I had a 7200, I think I would like it even more because of the closer up. But like, man, I like the wider aspect of it, of getting a little bit more of just the field and the atmosphere, the crowd in the back. But then I was able to get some close-ups. Like, man, if they were on the 5, right, you don't have the players on the sideline in the way, so you could get pretty close. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. So I shot in Carlisle this past weekend.
Did you really?
Yeah,
bro. I live right by the stadium. I can see the stadium. Yes, bro.
Well, yeah,
you had to text me.
I was later on Friday.
Oh my god!
I'm always driving through Carlisle. I'm actually driving through Carlisle tomorrow to go do a shoot in Pleasantville.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But I had a 70-200, and dude, I was like, because I talked to you about it. I was like, what'd you shoot with last year? He's like 24-70. I was like, I honestly wish I would have had 24-70 because when I was at 200. It was so hard for me to track.
Yeah, that's very true.
It was so hard for me to track. But
framing everything.
Yeah. And keyframing just takes forever.
And that's true. And I saw a video. I think that's why also I wasn't worried going to the game because I think I watched the video like right before. Like I pulled up to the parking lot of Valley Stadium. I pulled up a video real quick. I said it was like the top 5 tips of shooting a football game. And the guy said to shoot wider, not at 24, but like 70 was perfect. I had my lens at 70 the entire game, basically. Yeah. And cause he said the tracking is going to be so much easier. Right. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. Have the grid on your camera. So, like what's the middle? And I was like, man, this is great. So then going back, I didn't do any tracking that video because I just kind of wanted to get it out the next day. And I was like, man, I really like it, but I would probably agree with you.
The video turned out good.
Oh, it did. Yeah.
I also really like the colors of it. So talk us through like your editing process a little bit, what you use and kind of like what you're looking for with how you edit.
Well, first off, I grew up watching guys like Matt Como, Sam Colder.
Yep.
So a lot of my editing styles, I would say, and I know that's kind of cliche in the video editing world, but like that's what I know, Yeah. And
watch the best if you want to learn from the best.
Yeah, and I think some people, and this is like the pride maybe in them, but some people hate on their editing styles because it's like not cinematic. I'm like, doesn't matter. Well, like, what's cinematic? The word cinematic is so I don't even know as like
overused.
Overused. And so I grew up watching them, and I would say a lot of my editing styles when it comes to natural transitions and whatnot comes from them. And I use Premiere Pro. I think, that's just what I started on. I've wanted to dip my feet in DaVinci a little bit more. And I have maybe 5%. So, mostly for color grading like everybody. But for me, I've kind of stayed away from like the motion array animation transitions and just kind of stuck with the camera transitions and just like natural ones. Cause I'm like, man, when in movies, if we're talking cinematically, when in movies do we see like some like zoom in transition that you get from motion array, right? Like you never see that in movies. So I'm like, I'd rather keep things like super raw, in that way. So that, and man, I've taken the past year to really hone in on sound design because, I had a buddy once tell me that you really know a video is really good if you can watch it with your eyes closed and know what's happening. And so so now like, that's kind of how I kind of attack video editing now. Is like, man, if I could go through the entire timeline with my eyes shut and like, hey, I know exactly in a way like what's happening here, then I've done my job well. And
that's really good advice.
So that's like changed my perspective of like a creative lens like so much. So And then with color, Sam Newton, my guy, have to, his colors are so crisp, so clean. So I bought his color grading pack, and that's what I use. And I touch it up maybe a little bit, but I'm still not well versed in color grading at all. Like that would be like the next thing if I were to work on something. That would be what I would have to hone in of getting better at is color grading. But man, it's like a lot of it for me. I was like, color will be the last of my worries. If I can master natural camera transitions, if I can master sound design and storytelling, then I'm cool. Color grading can come later, right?
100%.
But yeah, I was also really bad at storytelling. I could none of my videos made sense at the beginning. They were all like hype videos, like recaps, no audio bits, just straight music and visuals. And bro,
Justin Escalona,
bro, I thought my shit was so good too. I'm like, bro, this is fire. And then I got humbled really quick by a buddy of mine now that we met in Georgia for like a celebrity. It was like a Lawrence Taylor golf tournament, right? And like a bunch of crazy guys were there. So I was like, bro, this is gonna be cake, right? Like guys like Ed Reed, you put him in a shot and he's there. No one's gonna say anything. Yeah. And we send it off to a guy to kind of prove it. And this guy has done stuff for Kyrie Irving. Like he's done stuff for so many crazy people, and he's really good, but he's also really particular. So we sent it to him in an email, and I haven't gotten an email like this ever, bro. This was like pages long of different changes and edits that I needed to make. But they were simple, but they made sense. Mm-hmm. They were like, hey, I think you should put this audio bit at the beginning, and I think you should take this out because it doesn't make any sense to the video, and put this in. I was like, okay, like whatever. And so we did it, and like it just turned out so much better. I'm like, wow, like it pays to tell a story. So then that also changed my perspective on storytelling of like, okay, I need to be better at that. Because if I can talk to somebody, that's something. But can I put it in a video where it makes sense and like the person watching it makes sense to them? And it's not just like, oh, this is a cool video, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you can make them feel an emotion from what you're saying, from the music to the sound design and everything, then like, you've edited like very well, like a true video. And for me, that was like a big humbling moment and just like a big turnaround of, okay, I need to be better.
Do you receive a lot of feedback like from clients, and how do you take that? Because I know like video editing can be a rigorous process where it's like if they tell you to switch the song, you might have to cut and edit the video the entire different way,
Did y'all see that post on Instagram of like when someone asks you to edit a video but your timeline is just like so perfect? So luckily from a clientele perspective, no, I don't take a lot of feedback. But so a lot of times though, I will send videos to my other video friends for my purposes of like, hey, before I send this to my client, is this good? Like, what would you change? And so I kind of get feedback from other creators because I feel like that's just like, don't ask me to like teach you how to play basketball because I suck at basketball and I got no handles, I brick a layup. I can't shoot a 3, so don't ask me, right? I feel like that's the same thing with anything that, like, if someone's good at, I would seek their feedback. Yeah. If someone doesn't know what they're talking about and they're just like, I think you should change this song because it's not like other videos that you made, like, I don't really care because, like, you're not looking at it through a creative lens. You're just looking at it because you want something to say.
Which is 95% of like clients.
Yeah. I think a lot of people think that they can be creative, which they can. But like in a sense of video editing and photo editing, it's like,
leave it to the professional.
So how do you balance like with client work and with passion projects?
Yeah.
How do you balance? That's the word I'm looking for. Executing like to their brand, while also maintaining like your creative integrity.
That's always a question I ask: is how much creative freedom do I have in this project? Because I think that's always a good question to ask before. Like if someone's just looking for a simple 30-second video of like a talking head, that's all I'm going to give them. I'm not going to give them more than what they asked for, unless they say your creative freedom. Do whatever you want. Then I'll put a little bit more effort into it. Okay. But I was always told by a buddy of mine of like, hey, if a client just asks you to do this, do it for them. but always follow up with the question of, what's my creative freedom in this?
Yeah.
Because at that point you can kind of go all out. And I like to pick, I'm pretty selective too. If it's a bigger client, of course I'm going all out, right? If it's a client of like a wedding, I love editing wedding videos actually. Cause I like to make them a little bit different. But if it's like a client where they're just looking for like a tutorial or something, and that's all they want, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'll do that for you. But I think just being selective and, learning to ask the right questions of, hey, how much freedom do I have in making this my own? And I'll make sure it's on your brand. I'll add your colors, I'll add your titles, I'll add, fonts and everything you need. But like, can I make this my style?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they say yes, because like they're creative in a creative sense is probably the last thing they're worried about, right? It's like, man, if it's a CEO of a dealership, they're not worried about the advertisement that's going out. They're worried about selling cars. So if the video looks good and you make it look good, they're satisfied. So
yeah, I think some of the best advice I got too when like defining how to like make something that's someone else's your own, like their style, is like undersell and over deliver.
Yeah.
Be like, I can do this, and at the end be like, okay, I'm going to take this a step further, whether that's like adding your own, sprinkle of special sauce, whatever. It's like, oh, this is something that like I would do if it was mine, while also promising I'm going to get you an ad, a video, content, whatever it is that will, communicate, because that's what media is. It's just communication, digital communication. Communicate what you're trying to, whether it's a client or whether it's, internal like communications, whatever it is that is communicating the message that you want.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, because it's like for that Theo Von project, there's no way in hell I was going to half-ass that. Right? Like I didn't even get paid for it. I literally didn't get paid to edit that video. And I was like, I don't care. Like, as long as I get that footage, I will do it for free. And I'm going to do it like I'm getting paid 10 grand to edit this video. Yeah. Because it's a client like that. But like for other clients, it's like, like I said, I'll give them what they want. And if they're okay with it, they're okay with it. But yeah, it's always so interesting to be really picky now, because before I didn't used to be like that. Yeah. Right? Like I would always like go 100% on everything, but then like I would say yes to every project, so then my time would be all backed up. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, no, I got to say no to some things. And I also got to be particular about things that I edit and, people that I talk to in the work that I do.
How do you go about like venting clients or whatever, like picking and choosing who you're going to work with? And then like also, you said just a second ago, like you used to take on a bunch of jobs, but like, did you ever experience burnout in that season? And so like kind of talk to us about those things.
Yeah. I don't know if I experienced burnout, but I was about to, right? And I think I had to, luckily there was mentorship to where my buddies were like, hey, you need to slow down, because you will get burnt out. So I don't think, luckily I never got burnt out, but I knew that if I kept going and kept saying yes to everything, I was 100%. And then what would happen? I would probably move on to the next thing. I wouldn't be editing videos anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing where I want to continue to love doing this. Yep. So yeah, in that time, it was such a big blessing to have mentorship for people to tell me to say, hey, no, you need to actually say no to these things. Mm-hmm. Because you have a life, you have friends, you have family. And at that time I don't think I was in a relationship. So he was just like, you just have to have time for yourself. What was the first question you asked though?
How do you go about venting clients?
Like,
is it venting or vetting?
Vetting. Okay. I don't vent to my clients though. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
No. How do you vet clients?
Like talk to clients and get new ones.
How do you like say no to certain clients?
Oh,
who are like,
yeah,
we really want you to do this, but you're not into it. That's not your type of work.
Yeah.
How do you respectfully say, hey, like that's not for me, but I can pass you on to someone else I know?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing,
It's exactly that, like the referral conversation. I think as a creative, you have to always do that. If you're so booked and you're busy, or you're just tired, bro, and you want to pass it on, is the great blessing is we have people, like we have friends, right, who are also in this creative industry. And so you're able to be like, hey, like, I'm pretty busy right now. I'm pretty booked, but I'd love to, I've worked with this guy for a while and he does a lot of work that I do and we work on similar projects. So I think also it's important to find people who will have the same stylish that you're looking for, because that client reach out to you specifically. Yeah. So they see something in your videos of like, hey, I really like that.
Right.
So for me, I do a lot more run and gun style stuff. So if someone were to ask me like, hey, we want you to do a run and gun follow of something, I'm not going to choose somebody who only does like video production, interview, corporate style videos. I'm probably going to use someone who I've worked with that does run and gun and kind of has a similar, can keep up, right? Because they are different, right? You're not setting up lights. You're not doing all this. You're at auto white balance. You're at one setting and you're moving. So, but on the other hand of the spectrum, if I'm like shooting a corporate style interview or something, I'm not going to ask someone who only does run and gun stuff that doesn't know anything about lights and audio and stuff, right? So I think knowing my connections well and what they know well and what they know best and knowing my client. But I think it's like, as a creator, you have to just ask questions. Otherwise, it's not like you're just gonna fail because you're not asking questions to the client of like what you want, what you expect.
As a graphic designer, it's like if I didn't ask my clients I take on any questions, I'm just gonna be sending them stuff, and they're gonna be like, "No, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. You're not hitting the point."
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
How do you guys feel about people who continue to have that feedback, and they're like never satisfied with what?
Yeah, is there ever a line here?
Right.
Okay. So actually, shout out to another podcast that I listen to. It's the Mid Convo podcast. They do similar podcasts to what we do. I think it was them. It was either them or the 505 podcast. That it was a podcast that's like creative podcasts. I listen to two of them, so sometimes I get them mixed up. But they're talking about one of the best things that they've done for like not getting so many revisions is talking to the clients and not emailing them. Because the thing is like making that personal connection where it's like, hey, like here's why I did what I did, and here's how I can talk you through that. And also because they will like not have it in front of them, and they'll like stop every frame or every second and be like, this isn't, in focus, so let's switch this shot out. Oh, this whatever. It's like, oh, but that's literally a 2-second transition B-roll spot, whatever it is. And he was talking about talking to a client like on the phone, in person, establishing that connection gives way more ease to the client's mind of they are getting a peek into what you're saying and what you're thinking and why you're doing what you're doing. So to answer your question, I think there is a line, but also but not like a disrespectful, you get 3 revisions, you're done. Like, type thing. Cause then they're going to be like, oh, like I'm just going to pick out the top.
That's a little hot-headed.
That might be a little, prideful. I don't know, because as creatives, we're there to be a problem solver and serve the client, not to, communicate our own agenda. But if the client is hiring you, they should be trusting your judgment and your style and your work ethic, everything that you're putting into it. So I think, first of all, is communicate like pre-production very well, like over communicate pre-production, as well as whenever it comes time to post-production. I found this to be really helpful whenever I was working on this sorority piece. I sent them a document to work on. I was like, this is the shot list that I have. This is what I'm going to provide, 3 cams, 2 lights for the interview. And then I'll have, audio, but I'm not going to bring lights for this. Everything's going to be run and gun. And then I was like, here's the song that I'm assuming you're going to want, everything like that. They wrote what they liked, and then they added their own notes in pre-production, as well as keeping that open document for post-production. So that way, if they have any notes.
Yeah.
So I would think like establishing that connection, that relational credibility beforehand. So that way, after the fact, they trust you.
How do you guys do what's your pre-production process? Like, do you guys use a software like Milanote or Notion or anything like that?
I use Notion.
I use Notion to to do pre-production with my team. So with Nick, but as far as clients, it's just we meet if it's here in town, we meet with them in person, take notes, come up with that document. Because the meeting in person, I feel like is a lot more important than do email. I hate email for everything. Email communication sucks.
Typing out, bro.
No one I've ever done work for, I've always met them in person.
Yeah.
Like, I've never worked with someone and not met them in person.
It's so important. Even dude, if they're especially if they're like out of town, like in Omaha or hey, let's Zoom. Like we got to FaceTime. Let's FaceTime.
Yeah,
Like, let's figure this out. But that's like
Figma's a great one as well.
Figma.
I got
I
introduced.
haven't tried Figma.
So I got introduced. I knew of Figma, never used it, but I got introduced to it by Seth. And they have a working document for all of their projects that they're working on collaboratively with Precious. So I'll use that a lot for like storyboarding, as well as, dude, like any AI software, you know, like whether it's, like photo generating or scripting or anything like that, you know, anything that's open-ended that's like, this is what we're going to do now, just fill in the blanks. Notion, but like get on a call with them, talk to them in person. Also ask them any like leading questions that's like what kind of emotion or story that they're trying to communicate and how you can do that. Because then, you know, whether it's photos, cause like I don't take on a lot of photography clients, but like, for like some models that I've worked with, I'll send them, you know, all these Pinterest posts that I'll like get on or be like, all right. And then like throw it in and then block out, be like, I don't like this color or I don't like this. And I'll fill it in and be like, this is what I'm thinking for this pose, but in this area type thing. Same with, videography, you know, like sketching something out, storyboarding it. You get that.
Yeah.
Pre-production is so important. It makes everything. It makes day of shoot go a lot smoother than post-production. It makes it even more quicker. If you don't do pre-production,
you have nothing.
There's no like this is the worst feeling in the world when you pull up your shoot and you know you didn't prepare. You're like shit.
And then post-production is horrible.
You're like you're like shit. What was I gonna do? Like how was I? And then you're just like, all right, like you're trying to talk to your talent or whatever. Okay, like maybe stand here.
They know too. They can sniff that out.
And that's gonna leave a lasting impression too. You know, I mean, what's the saying
that like early on?
Yes,
and that's the thing. Like a lot of my clients that I like that they're on retainer now. A lot of it has been like, hey, we enjoy working with you. Not only that we enjoy your work, but like how prepared, but also like how fun and personable you are. Whereas like like everybody here knows like it's a lot of people in the industry, in our industry, especially videography industry. They're just jerks. They're just jerks.
100%, bro.
Like they are horribles. Like how do you treat your talent like this?
Right, because if you can't be flexible on the fly, you know, like oh you forgot something or like you know if you do forget to prepare, it's like, and if you're not flexible, then you're setting yourself up for failure even more so.
It's crazy.
I will say, like, the moments that I, like, early on when I wasn't preparing, like, it was genuinely because, like, looking back on it, it's because I didn't love what I was doing. Like, I took the job to make money, and nowadays I would never do that. If I don't like it, I'm not going to do it.
That's so true. And I think for me, especially,
having the freedom to do that is important.
And for me, it's like, I always like to sell my turnaround times. Cause I will stay up the night of and make a video in one night. Because like you said, I love it now, but also that pre-production has helped so much to where I'm able to have a quicker turnaround time. But before, bro, I didn't have a pre-production process. I didn't even have a post-production process. I said, yeah, bro, I got you. You need something? I got you. Pull out with my camera, pull up with all my gear. Hey, I think we should do this. This would be great. And like, it's great. It's good to have that personality because I don't know. It's like you can kind of BS your way through it. But then after you're sitting at your laptop like, shit, what song, and I'm looking on art list for like 4 hours.
That process, picking the audio is tough.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like that is one of because I don't really. I know some videographers like they'll call through their footage.
Yeah.
Like that's not how I operate.
If you don't know what shot you're looking for,
Yeah.
if you're
And
just looking at me like, oh, what would work here?
and you don't know what you shot that day, then I'm just like,
You're like, shit, I didn't remember getting that.
yeah, it's like, what are you doing? The same thing with like pictures. Like you know what you shot when you took pictures. So like, I don't never like call through my footage. So I hear videographers say, "Oh, call through the footage." You know, that took me 3 hours organizing and everything.
Yeah.
But like, dude, finding a song, like I could sit there for hours.
What's the best sound subscription website out here, guys?
I don't know. It's
Epidemic
that-
Sound.
I don't know.
No.
Epidemic Sound, bro. I will die on that.
I will die on
I will
Artlist,
die.
bro.
Okay,
I tell
here's the
you
thing.
what.
I love
Artlist is
Artlist, but
fine.
everything I find on Artlist, guess what? It's on Envato Elements. They're the same, bro.
Bro, Envato
They are the
sucks.
same.
Envato sucks.
Everything you find on Envato is
wait.
on Artlist.
And
Marquis,
freaking
Do you have
Epidemic.
Artlist
You have
Max or
Storyblocks?
I got Storyblocks.
Story blocks is good.
It's
I don't-
decent.
yeah,
I don't
It's
like
good
it.
for footage. It's good for footage.
I don't like it.
It's good for story.
What'd you
Storyblocks.
say?
I don't like it.
Did you see that? Bro, this is a great conversation though.
Storyblocks, I give a 6.5.
You know what's funny?
I like Soundstripe though.
Soundstripe
That
is
is
nice.
decent.
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't own any of these, but he gave me the login.
Yes,
for
bro.
it.
No, that is the best.
I dropped my-
I share an Art Grid subscription with some buddies, but I have my own
I don't
Art
do
List
Art
account.
Grid, yeah.
I like Artlist.
Here's the
Yeah.
reason why I do Epidemic Sound, because it's on your phone, and guess what? You
That's
can
true.
pull everything on your phone and load it into Instagram. You can load it into CapCut. You can load everything from your phone
that is
as
nice.
well.
Does it have,
this.
does it have
Epidemic
sound effects?
Sound.
Does that-
Yes.
I'll say this.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like,
Okay.
listen,
Sold
our
it.
list. Okay,
Free
hold on.
trial, 7 days.
Save a day, 30 day.
I'm gonna have to make a new email,
Dude,
bro.
bro, here's the thing, though. I got a yearly subscription for $50.
How?
That's what I'm saying. They run deals, bro. But also, I will agree with you. Artlist for footage. Artlist, everything.
It's solid.
Hey.
Everything. They provide the log. They provide raw. Artlist is phenomenal across the board. That's why you see the ads. It is the best. But for sound alone, I'm rocking Epidemic.
How
Sound.
much did I pay to get to the Epidemic login?
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Right?
I'm gonna try it on my next project, and
Yeah.
Dude.
I'll come back and give you guys true feedback on
so
it.
when I got on Storyblocks, I'll say this. It's good. I feel like it's good for like the real estate stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
It's really good for that.
It's very clunky. Storyblocks is clunky.
Epidemic Sound though, when I checked that out, because Ethan also gave me the login one time, that had more like vibes.
Yeah.
Bro,
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's
They
what I
put
think
it
about
into
Art List,
playlist.
though,
They
too,
put
though.
the vibe. Like you'll be like skateboarding, and it'll have a whole playlist.
That's Art List though.
Yeah, Artlist like that.
Artlist does that
Storyblocks is more corporate-y.
I know. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot more
I
corporate.
think Eli Borgs uses Artlist too.
Artlist,
Yeah.
I got an Artlist account and it's fire. I love it.
So I originally got on Art List because I saw this one. It goes back to the whole vibes thing. Is like I saw this video on Instagram that I think it was Clemson football did it, and it was like the smoothest like
Scroll through
R&B
it. Just scroll through
hip
it.
hop.
Can I say
And
something?
I'm like, I gotta do it. And I saw it was only on Art List. So I was like, that was the song that hooked me to Art List. And I've been hooked ever since.
I don't wanna cut you off, bro.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I noticed that our our theme song or whatever.
Dude, it got popular right after we started using it.
Bro,
Where was it from?
I saw it everywhere.
Where was it from?
Song, bro. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody's using our theme song, bro.
So
I know.
I hear the dun 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 dun.
I know. I'm like,
Oh wait, that song?
yes.
Bro, that's an Art List.
Okay, so it's everywhere.
It's
That's what I'm saying.
everywhere.
It's on all platforms.
That's
I have
another
an
thing.
idea.
A lot
Yes.
of these platforms, they cross.
that, actually.
It's
I have
like
an idea,
everywhere.
guys.
They cross
Exactly.
platform.
You can load stuff into Spotify, Apple
See, I
Music
like-
straight from it.
I didn't
It's
know you could do that.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with $275 a year on Art List. For some stupid reason, I ain't gonna lie.
Well, because of the footage, I like Artlist Max
Yeah.
because you do get the whole package all in one.
And
So I will say that.
275 is not bad, dude.
No,
I've had to pay
no.
for certain stock footage and pay $50.
Yeah.
just for a package.
Yeah, just to use that 10
Yeah.
second clip because that 10-second clip is nowhere else and I'm not finna go shoot a baseball.
Yeah, I got an
footage, so.
idea. What if I don't know if we should do this or not. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm cutting this.
At the beginning of the new year, we change our theme song. So every year we change our theme song.
We should write one. Have
And then
Hayden
say,
write one.
bro, that
We
would
should
be
write a
nuts.
theme song.
Yeah.
That would be pretty crazy. You
Yeah,
would be down
yeah,
there.
no
I
one's
wrote,
gonna
I wrote
finesse
some
that.
scores for eternity stuff.
Let's
so.
write a theme song.
So I will say too, though, I've taken a dip. So I also use I don't know if I should say this. I also use a lot of copyright music in my videos because you think of like, you see now you can use sounds on Instagram and they're actual songs.
Right.
So a lot of the times, if I'm not making a video for someone that's going on YouTube or something, even if it does, like they're not monetizing the video anyway. But like, I'll use a lot of copyright
100%.
music,
Dude,
that's what I'm
and
using
you don't
for
get
this to work.
flagged
Yeah,
because Instagram, it's already there. And I'm like,
I got a client that like all his reels, his real estate reels, he wants up to date hip hop.
He wants
And
J.
R&B.
Cole.
J. Cole.
Wait, who's the guy? Who's the guy?
David Rodriguez.
Oh, okay, no. Who's the other guy that you do real estate?
Tall white guy.
Yeah, Tyler. Yes,
Yeah,
bro.
Tyler. Yeah,
I
Yes.
didn't see Tyler liking that.
Yeah, basketball player. Right?
Tyler's
Yeah.
favorite
There's some
rapper is
Drake on.
Corday and Kevin Gates. Shout out my homie Tyler. You know what I'm saying?
Tyler.
That was a good
I'm, chill.
riff right there. That was, I mean, I like that.
Yeah,
was
that
good.
I see. That's such a big topic of discussion in like the creative video editing
Oh,
world.
yeah,
You know,
dude.
because everybody will have their own. Everybody will have their own preference, and like for me, yeah, I don't know. It's like like I said, I don't even use like the music on Artlist anymore. It's just the sound effects,
Yeah.
right?
That's so important.
True.
But yeah, because we can use like actual up to date music on social media, it's
Yeah.
like, man, why the hell would I not? You
And I don't
know?
like watching videos without sound design anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a little I don't want to say it's a little gross, but sound design is huge.
No, I did like a little video project, kind of like a passion project earlier this year. It was the good news thing that I was posting, and like really simple little video clips and whatnot. And like I was having a really hard time because like I was like originally thinking, okay, like I want some sort of song, but I was having a hard time, and then I ended up just ditching that and just going straight effects and ambience.
Oh.
And maybe like I had like a synth, and that was it. And it honestly was great. You know,
That's beautiful.
That's what I've done like for a lot of background stuff for like reels for, you know, whether it's eternity or just like
Just use
personal
stems.
stuff. Dude, I'll just like create something, throw it in Logic, figure out a loop, and then, you know.
That's
the perks of being a freaking musician.
Dude, so
spirit keys. Get the
yeah,
spirit keys out.
Yeah.
so that's also a good question too, because like I said before, I've been following guys like Matt Como around, and like even Noah Langer, right? So those two guys have kind of transitioned from videography to also music, and they use their music in original tracks in their videos. So it's like, do you think that more videographers will kind of take that on? Because we
were
all
talking
have
to
like
Chris Scott about that way back.
Yeah,
Really?
because we was actually going to work on
We
a
were
project.
cooking up in like GarageBand. or
in
something, right?
GarageBand, making something. Bro, what was that project for? What was it going to do? It was going to be just a short film.
Yeah.
And we came up with something in GarageBand, sitting on my couch, and it was lucky. I might still have that.
you might put it on the next video or something. Real estate, bro.
Make it our theme song.
Check the Dropbox.
Dead. But like that's such a big thing though, right? Because like we all spend countless hours looking for a song.
Yeah.
But like we also have a creative mind to be like, I think if I were to make something,
Yeah.
I would be more inclined to make passion projects or even add this to like another video that I'm creating for a client. And I think at that point, creating everything about the video, from the film to the sound
To the score.
to the everything, has to feel like the most accomplished work ever. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
That'd be fire.
Dude, I did that for our Easter film. The only thing was, so I was talking to you about this. We had a storyboard of like what our Easter film was going to be. Wrote out a script for it, everything like that. There's a guy in our church. He used to like write hip hop music. Phenomenal. Like he's an awesome dude. He's a pediatrician. But like he's from the Bronx or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't remember. But he wrote this spoken word piece in like 12 hours. Banger. And I was like, this needs more than just like and so I wrote a song to go underneath it that like worked. And so, dude, it's so much fun.
Did it sound like a Stephen Furtick or a Judas
Dude, I'll set, dude, it was so good. The only thing that really bummed me out is we had so much going on. And so I had 3 people that was like planning on filming, like talent wise. And we ended up just getting so backlogged and we just couldn't get dates to work for all of them and everything like that. So I had to use stock footage from Artlist. They provide the log footage and everything like that. So it was perfect. Nice. So I was able to color it the way I wanted to, cut it, download the whole playlist, but it had like an original song, original spoken word. I'll show it to you.
You have to send it to me.
Dope.
I think, how did you feel after that?
Dude, it's like I was just like a freaking producer, man. I was like,
this you change your title on Instagram.
And I was like, this is awesome. Cause I mean, being like someone who went to school for like music and music production, not like, it just felt good to be like, I can still do that as well. I still could scratch that creative itch, even though I'm like, not strictly, but like my title is like film producer now. I could still do like music. So it's fun.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's so cool. I think anytime you can dip your feet into something that will add benefit to your videos is like stellar, bro. Even like directing, like I don't direct. I direct shoots, but like I couldn't be like a film director. Sure. You know what I mean? But like dipping your feet into that and then knowing a little bit about 100%. It. Oh man, that'd be something else.
Man, this was good though. This was good.
It's not often we have a guest on that's asking us questions. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important.
I think that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like honestly, more. Feel free, you know.
Yeah.
The next guest.
This was. We need more patio chats in the future.
And we gotta have you on more than once. So you definitely be on again.
I'm free. This is the times where I can smoke a cigar and have some whiskey with the boys, you know.
Yeah,
other than that, I'm spending time with my wife and living in our 400 square foot house. But I love it though. But I think honestly, it just goes back to like asking questions, right? And like, I'm not afraid to ask people questions, so I'm like not afraid to ask people questions here because I think there's so many things that we can learn from in just every aspect of life and work and everything. So yeah, I don't want to, and I know a podcast, especially when you have a guest, is like, you know, you want to hear about that, but also like, I want to hear about you guys because also I haven't seen y'all, at least you two.
It helps that you know us pretty well too. Right?
Yeah.
When we have new guests on, you know, it's like sometimes it's our literal first time meeting them.
In person, which is nice. Well, we like to end every episode with telling each other what inspired us the last week, month, couple of months. So we'll let you go last so you can have some time to think. And who wants to go first?
I'll go first. 2 things that have inspired me lately. One, I've been reading a lot. I think I mentioned that the last episode that I was on. So I'm leaving for Arizona on Sunday. I ordered 5 books to read on vacation. Do I think I'm going to get to them all? Probably not, but it's my goal. I think I'm going to try and get to them, like read one a day. 'Cause I'm going out there to sit by a pool, relax, spend time with some family, go to Oklahoma State football game, go Pokes.
Are they playing in Arizona?
Yeah, they're playing in Mesa.
Future Big 12 opponent.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
The Big 12 is going to be the lowest. I'll tell you what.
The day after, bro, I was
You said the lowest?
SEC, Big 10, Big 12 in that order.
Stop it.
SEC, Big 10 is like right here, and then Big 12 is right.
I agree with you. ACC.
You're a Nebraska fan, bro. Oh my
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you.
I agree with you.
Nebraska did very well in the Big 12.
Yes.
And then you finish. You keep going. But I will say that. We'll talk about this after.
Yeah. I was so mad. I'll get to what inspired me. I was so mad because I ordered my tickets to the game. Me and my brother and my dad are going. The day after, the morning after, I wake up, open Instagram after I get going on my day, and one of the first posts I see is Arizona State has a postseason ban for this year. Their tickets dropped so far. I'm just like, no. I like the tickets. On the flight? Yeah, for real. That would be dope.
Yeah,
the tickets were still stupid cheap. I think it was $50. I'm sitting on the 5th row. So like
that's
50
not bad at all.
So like,
they can't be.
But they dropped to like
Can't beat it.
$34.
All right, you can beat that.
I know. I'm just like, man.
That's a beer. That's a
I know. I'm like, man, whatever. But no, I'm like taking some books out to read, just relax. So I'm trying to like refresh my mind. I got The Creative Act. Sydney Strachey, a former guest. She was the one who told us about that book.
You know her. She went to Seascape.
Do what?
She was a graphic designer that did.
I'll show you.
Probably did. I probably do.
I'll show you pictures.
Sorry if I don't remember you, but I probably do.
Yeah.
And then Seth Lunsford, he had it on his desk for the longest time, and I kind of like thumbed through it one time. But I ordered that book, and then I ordered The Diary of a CEO pre-order. It's supposed to drop tomorrow and be here. Wow. Super excited to read those because I don't know if you listen to that podcast with Stephen Bartlett. Great podcast for anybody, creative or not. But the thing that really inspired me this week was every time I have a conversation with Alex Prinz, I learn something. I learned,
for real,
dude, I learned so much, and we can't not have a conversation that's at least 45 minutes. Like just the stuff that he talks to me about, super cool. But, so like he went through, just like a pivot in like his career path and everything like that. And he was talking to me about just like stuff he's working on, stuff he's getting really passionate about. I'm like, man, like he's older than all of us, I think. Are you 28?
He's like you're
27.
You're 27. So he's just a little bit older than you. But like going through this like shift and like, he's like, man, like I am so passionate about like learning and like falling more in love with like what he's doing. So like he's talking to me about the UX, UI design, user experience, user design, or UX, UI, user experience, user interface, all that stuff. And I know of it, but I didn't really know what all goes into it. And he's just like showing me all these things. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this is sick.
It's
because
fun
like,
stuff.
dude, it's
Class
really
in college,
cool.
really.
Yeah, really cool stuff. So honestly, like he inspires me as an individual, but like just having those conversations with him, super cool. He was our first guest. And honestly, like my life is different because of like knowing him. So super cool. Wow. Shout out Alex, and appreciate him. So yeah, that's good.
Awesome.
Nice.
Good. Marquis.
Mine was this past weekend. Got a chance to shoot some footage at the worship night at Hope, which was pretty dope.
Hope is dope, baby.
Yeah, got a chance to look back at some of the footage, and I'm like, that's
yeah.
Hope is dope. Got a chance to look back at some of the footage. I'm like, that's really cool. But I think it was good to be in that worship environment because they're so good.
Yeah.
Like they're really good. And the atmosphere at those worship nights is non-comparable to anything else. So yeah, that's what really inspired me. So hopefully November come around, be back filming.
Is that the next one?
I think so. I think it's going to be.
Should be, yeah.
They normally do it one in November, so I'm just guessing, but hopefully.
Yeah, that's sick.
All right. I think recently, I forgot to mention this like a few episodes ago when we were kind of talking about stuff we've been doing, but like I did a photo shoot for fun, or not even kind of like a photo shoot / like content day with Anthony Arroyo and Darius Mundy, and it was just fun. Like we were all so. I did photos with Mundy for like a Northern Vessel thing, like at the beginning of the summer, I think. And it was for that like
Forward Together
like content creator challenge thing. And so we did like a whole photo shoot for that and basically scrapped it all because I had, long story short is we didn't get like chosen for the top. I think there was like three people could win or whatever. We didn't get chose, and that's fine because like I was like, okay, that's fine because it had to do with this one-way concept. Basically, we got some like coffee or whatever, and we went out in the city. We were taking pictures next to all these one-way signs because to me that's the abstract way of like showing forward together. But scrapped it and was like, no, I'm gonna use a photo I took of the sign for some clothes I'm gonna put out in the future. So this is coming out soon with the other stuff. I got some hoodies too, which are fire, but
Need one of those.
yeah. So I mean, that's kind of off tangent, but I felt bad because I was like, dang, like those are fire pictures. But we need to link again and do something just for fun. And like Mundy's got super dope style. And so like we just like we're talking for a while and we're like, let's just rent a studio, go halvesies, and let's just like we'll shoot like reels because right now people just like be taking reels on their iPhone and it's fun. You just show like outfits and stuff. And so like half of the studio session, we literally shot like videos on an iPhone of just our outfits and like stuff. And then the other half of the time took photos and like we all shoot film, Anthony, Mundy, and I. And I'm new to film, so like I don't know that much about it, but I have a little point and shoot thing. So like we were just like creating, and it was just fun, like to just create with no agenda. Because sometimes I feel like you need to do that. Yeah. And so that was fun. And I also got a bunch of film back from like the past like month, and they're fire. And
I got 3 new rolls to take to Arizona, so I'm stoked to shoot.
And I have my film camera with me too. I was going to like document this too, because I have yet to get any of the podcast with it. So, but that was inspiring to just create for fun. So, and like, yeah, you don't need to use a camera all the time. Like you can just shoot on your phone nowadays and it's cool. And I have a bunch of, I got so much stuff on the back burner.
That's like everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it sucks that you have so much.
It sucks, but it's also a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, people probably don't think I do anything. But like, so what? Yeah. I got all this stuff that you don't know about. Haha. But yeah, anyways, that's my rant.
No, that's so good. I would say there's 2 things that have been inspiring me the most. One is work related and one is not work related. The work related was definitely last Friday of just, I mean, I wasn't getting paid at all to be on the field at the Southeast Polk Valley game. And I was like, hey, I just want to do TV. So Noah saw me on TV with them bright Hokas.
Ooh, the Hokas.
I don't have them on now, but I'll never run in any other shoe. Hokas will be forever. But, that inspired me so much because it's like, that is what I truly want to do is sports video. And that just confirmed it. It's like I always thought I wanted to, and then being on the field, even at a high school game, bro, it's like that's what I want to do. So that inspired me, man. Like you said, there's a bunch of footage that I can put on reels, and create just short little docs and stuff like that. And that just, man, I can't wait to be on the field every single game this season, for pro bono, really, just to be there and just to have fun creating content that I know that will help out eventually, in the future. So that inspired me so much, man. And just the feedback that you get, I think whenever people give you positive feedback and share it all the time, is like, that is what it feels so good. Even if you don't get a clap from it, it's like, that people are seeing your stuff and loving your stuff. So that was like super awesome to see that. And non-work related is, it's kind of work related. I think the most important thing in this industry is to work hard, but also find rest. And so that's what I've been doing, is find what you will rest at, because I think my rest before doing video full time was video, right? I would have a full time job and then I would take my camera after work and, go do fun stuff. Well, that's my job now. So what else can I do that's rest? And for me, that's smoking cigars, drinking whiskey, playing golf. Right. We talk about that a lot. And that's how I find my rest. But also my wife and I have been doing this, fitness challenge for like 75 days. It's called like a 75-day challenge or something like that, where you're working out.
Is it 75 hard or?
Yeah, but we're doing soft, bro. Yeah, come on. I mean, we're doing it soft, bro. I still got to eat the good food. I still, you know what I mean? We got to ease ourselves into it. So we've been doing that lately, and doing something together with my wife has been just so uplifting. And, it's like we get to spend time with each other because our work schedules are complete opposite. So she works at night and I work during the day. So it's kind of just, you know, we don't get to spend true time together a lot. And so that has helped and inspired me a lot to be a better husband, but then also just like, man, just do things together with my wife and then come and have my rest here and have my rest playing golf and hit the links when I want. And man, like that has been so important for me, because going back to the whole burnout thing is I don't want to get burnt out of video is something I love to do. So it's like, man, some people it's like barbecue. That's their rest, right? Some people that's like reading, you know, and for me, it's this playing golf and spending time with my wife. And that has been so inspiring to me. Especially being back and take things slow. So yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
That's right. We should all go play pickleball sometime too. I'm still wanting to go play.
Yeah, we should go play around the golf.
We should, bro. Sure. I know that. So I always I always like have fun joking about this to Maggie, because I chose one of the most expensive work things to do, right? Because our gear's so expensive. Yeah. Also a freaking expensive hobby. Yeah. And I told her, I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't give my work up, but I also can't give my hobby up. So we're going to be spending money a little bit in this time, playing golf, working, spending money on gear.
You'll make money back.
Exactly,
Take
bro.
Money to your grave.
Money comes and goes.
I swear, man. I'll pay
affirmations.
I'll pay $80 going 18. I don't care.
and lose $40 worth of balls.
Yes, exactly, bro. Exactly.
On top of that.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, this was good. Appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you, bro.
Just hanging out, honestly. Like, without the mics, just thanks for spending time. So
It's always been fun. It's good to see y'all boys again.
Good to see you too, bro.
We'll talk more when the camera's off, but for now, this has been another episode of the Creative's Point of View podcast. We'll see you in the next one.